I've just realized how the Marvel Cinematic Universe would have tied Kang the Conqueror to the Fantastic Four, which also explains why Doctor Doom was his villain replacement. Although upcoming Marvel movies are not expected to feature Kang the Conqueror too much, he had a big role to play in previous installments of the multiverse saga. Loki, for instance, established a variant of Kang the Conqueror known as He Who Remains. Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania then saw a more malevolent variant of the villain trying to escape the quantum realm. Despite Kang's prior importance, the story of Avengers Doomsday has marked a different path for the MCU going forward. Kang may not be as important in the future, but I have figured out why his replacement, Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom, was the only choice for Marvel Studios to make. This connection involves the Fantastic Four, as each member has ties to both Kang and Doom, which clarifies why Marvel has adjusted Phase 6 of the MCU in this manner. Kang was the original villain of Avengers 5, before it went from the Kang Dynasty to Doomsday. The MCU's old plan explained, firstly, it's important to delve into the intricate details of Marvel Studios' initial plan to feature Kang the Conqueror as the villain in Avengers 5. After the culmination of the Infinity Saga with Avengers Endgame, or technically Spider-Man Far From Home, the MCU moved into the multiverse saga. This installment focused on, well, the multiverse. Loki Season 1 was one of the first installments in the multiverse saga, which set up He Who Remains, the aforementioned variant of Kang the Conqueror. He Who Remains explains that his variants are less benevolent than he, and that, if the MCU multiverse expands beyond the sacred timeline that he kept control over, these variants would start a multiversal war. Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania doubled down on this after Loki Season 1 ended with He Who Remains expanding. The former included a more typical comic book version of Kang the Conqueror, who was confined to the quantum realm and sought an escape so he could aptly conquer the multiverse. All of this was set to culminate in Avengers 5, initially titled Avengers, the Kang Dynasty. Set to be directed by Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings filmmaker Destin Daniel Cretton, Avengers, the Kang Dynasty would have featured the Avengers facing off against the evil variants of Kang shown in Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania's post-credit scene. However, the plans all changed in light of Jonathan Majors' assault charges. Majors had portrayed all major variants of Kang in the MCU up to that point, and was expected to do so again in Avengers, the Kang Dynasty. After his legal case, though, Marvel pivoted away from the Kang storyline, despite all the setup, in favor of Avengers Doomsday. Avengers Doomsday will now see the titular team facing off against Doctor Doom. Doom and Kang would likely have been connected in the MCU anyway, given their comic book links and how the sequel to the Kang Dynasty was Avengers, Secret Wars, a Doom-centric story from the source material. Now, however, Doctor Doom officially replaces Kang. Kang's connections to the Fantastic Four demonstrate how easily the MCU could have tied their debut to Avengers 5. Kang would have enabled an important MCU role for Marvel's first family. Now that Kang's initial MCU role has been established, it is worth exploring how this would have enabled the Fantastic Four to have a big role in the MCU's multiverse saga. A Fantastic Four movie has been in the works since 2019, which has eventually manifested into the story of the Fantastic Four First Steps. Given that the films started development before the multiverse saga even began, it was clear that the MCU's fantastic multiversal elements of Phases 4, 5, and 6, based on the connections to Kang from Marvel Comics and even those sprinkled throughout the MCU, this makes sense. These connections would have allowed the Fantastic Four to become embroiled in the war against Kang in what would have been Avengers, the Kang Dynasty. In the comics, Kang the Conqueror is Nathaniel Richards, a descendant of Reed Richards' father from the 31st century. Naturally, this would have allowed the Fantastic Four to become embroiled in the war against Kang, in what would have been Avengers, the Kang Dynasty, potentially even with the team playing a bigger role in Phase 6 than the Avengers themselves. Additional MCU context could then have bolstered this familial connection. the Fantastic Four will flee their universe in first steps, as proven by the Thunderbolts post-credit scene. It could have been explained that they did so as a variant of Kang tried to conquer their universe, potentially tying to Galactus's involvement. With this context in mind, specifically the direct familial connection between Kang and Reed Richards, it makes sense why Marvel chose Dr. Doom as Avengers 5 Feet's replacement villain. As many who are familiar with the Fantastic Four will be aware, Reed Richards and Victor Von Doom have a long-standing rivalry. Doom is one of the group's main antagonists as a result. Evidently, the Fantastic Four were going to be an important part of the multiverse saga anyway. Therefore, it makes perfect sense to have Doom be Kang's replacement in Avengers Doomsday. This way, the connection between the Avengers' main villain and the Fantastic Four will still be prevalent, allowing the Marvel Cinematic Universe to tie together nicely.